Right, this part of this video is I'm going to film this separate from the rest of the Burny guitar because I'm doing the electrics, and what I'm doing is I've stripped back the pickups because the wiring, I was really not happy with it. And I've done the same here, stripped it all back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy this area up. I'm going to remove quite a bit of this shielding because it's really untidy. And what I'll do is I'm going to remove this wire. These two wires are a bit too thick. I've got some really thin stuff, pretty much the same as this gubbins here, proper gear. I'm going to cut that back. There's also this stripped here, there's a hole in the red there. I'm going to basically go back over that, put another piece of shrink wrap tubing over there. I've got a bag full of shrink wrap tubing, all different thicknesses, we've got plenty there. I'm going to tidy this area up. Once it's tidied up, I'm going to shrink wrap the whole lot again and just leave these two wires bare. There won't be any splitting done. We'll have a black as the earth, red as the hot on that one, and I will probably do exactly the same with this. I'll strip this right back and I'll do a red and a black again. That way we're not going to get in trouble. What I might do is I might stick a blue wire and a black on there. We can have a blue as a hot wire on the neck pickup and red as a hot wire on the bridge pickup, and both of the black ones are going to be the earth. So they're pretty easy to do. Also with the wiring here, I've got a lot of tidying up to do here. I'm going to get a nice hot soldering iron on there. I'm going to get all this crap off the whole lot. I'm going to put a new piece of copper all the way around. Follow where this is, do a big U shape all the way around there, but I'll do it round the outside. And I also slightly turn the pots to make them work better toward each other. I mean, I would think if I've got the, I kind of like this kind of scenario. That kind of scenario there is pretty good for me. Where we are that way. The earth wires on the lugs are okay, but obviously lugs 1 and 3 on here are going to need tidying up a lot. We'll get as much of that horrible solder off as we can. We'll tidy these up. Like I said, I'm going to use the same pots again. What I will do is I will get some service salt switch cleaner in there. So I'm going to get my trusty soldering iron out. I'm going to have a go at these first, get them tidied up. And I'll come back and show you the result of that shortly. And then we will... These threads aren't long enough to get right through this little jig. I always make a little jig. This is one I've had for a while. Or for Les Pauls, just to get the pots where you want them. So... I was not able to fasten them at the top, but you know, I'll get around that. We're in pretty tight anyway, so are these push-pull pots or not? I thought they were, but they're not. No, they're just normal pots. A little bit loose on stems, but still we do move a bit. So that's it. The capacitors are fine as they are. I would be going with a vintage or the 50s wiring anyway, so we'll wire capacitors that way. That's going to work pretty well, but these big wires, these big copper wires that are in my way, I'm going to remove all that. Solder I could probably leave on there. All the CTS pots, it doesn't say. I don't know what pots they are. Japanese, I don't know. What do the Japanese manufacturers use? I'm not sure. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to crack on, and this piece of video will be inserted inside probably the final part of the video. I now have all of the cleanup done. You might find it hard to believe this is the same gubbins. Pickups. I now have a neck pickup here. That's the new wire I put on there. Everything's insulated. We will get that through the cavity. A little bit fatter there than I wanted it to be, but it's okay. Because it's neck, I put a blue wire for the hot, black for ground. That's going to work fine. The bridge one didn't take much tidying up, and I've gone the same, well I've gone similar. Gone ground is black, hot is red. Lot tidier than they were, so they're going to work absolutely fine. The pots, cleaning the pots up was took quite a while, but you see I've put a new ground wire. There you go, let's see which way we're going to go on that. I think we're going to go that way. Will it be that way? Might be that way. Anyway, whatever, whichever way it is. Clean the pots up the best I can. That wire that's going across all the pots I've removed. I've put a wire all the way around the outside. There's a lot of time. I managed to get a lot of the solder off the back of the pots. Pots still work fine. I haven't had to touch the capacitors, but I have cleaned up the solder, the excess solder that was on the lugs. Okay, it's not super pretty, but it is a lot better than it was. So that's going to make my job a lot easier. All I've really got to do now is make the wiring loom for the three-way switch, which I'll probably have to do inside the cavity anyway, but I shall get that routed through as well. I will do that job tomorrow. Danny will be coming for the guitar Friday afternoon, I imagine, so got all day tomorrow to get it done and do final setup Friday morning. So that is all the electrics done. If you remember, I had the whole loom to clean up and the pickup wires to redo. So that's done. I've burnt my finger, 470 degrees Celsius by the way, so that's going to smart. It's been under the tap, but it's hurting now and it's going to hurt quite a lot more later, I should imagine. Maybe it'll blister. Oh well, I'm sure we'll survive. So I'm now on Operation Clean Up. Just turning my WEP solder station down. What a great piece of kit this has been. So far paid £32.99 for it, I believe. It's same as a Yiwa or whatever. WEP 937D plus soldering station. Working absolutely fine, really can't fault it at the moment. But that's it, that's the electrical parts done and well, the loom done. We'll look at getting them back in the guitar once I've finished the frets and everything tomorrow. So good stuff. Right, I have cleaned up the pots best I can. And they may look a lot better now than they were, and they are a lot better now than they were, but the problem with this is I've had to use that much heat to get all the big massive blobs of solder off, but two of them have had it, being the two ones with the big capacitor on, which are the 223. These bottom two here seem to sweep fine. So these two I'm going to have to replace. Now I don't know what pots they are, just listen. Here we click, should be clicking, and here. I think some solder's got in there probably, and it's knackered the sweep. So these two I'm going to have to replace. Now luckily I've got two vintage CTS pots in there, which I'm not keeping, or I'm not using because they don't look the same. They are measured, that's 504 k ohms, that's 500 or whatever it is, 500k. I do have set of Bourne's 500k audio pots. I'd imagine those pots already in there are all audio pots anyway. So I'm going to replace with two of these. Now these are my favourite. These are my favourite pots anyway. They've got a beautiful sweep to them. The short stem the same, and the sweep on them, it just glides. It's so beautiful. Like I say, my favourite pots. I'm going to stick two of them in there. Can't avoid that. I'm hoping the other two pots in there are okay anyway, but if not, I have four of these Bournes. You know, maybe we could replace the whole lot, I don't know, but let's see how we get on by replacing these two. I will wire this loom outside of the guitar and check everything is working alright before I put it in the guitar. There's no worse than sticking in the guitar and finding out it's not quite right. I hate using old pots, I hate reusing them. The thing is, they were working okay in the guitar. The thing is, you saw the state of them, so let me get that repaired and we'll see where we are. So we'll now see that I've replaced these two pots for two Bourne's ones. I personally might replace all four. I think it's definitely worth replacing the lot, but we'll see. I'll get it wired in and see how everything works. Make sure we've got no crackle or anything anywhere, but don't they just look a lot better? And also, isn't my soldering a lot tidier than this down here? You know, when we're doing wiring looms, I like to do a complete fresh one. But these are two Bourne's audio pots. They're my favourite pots. I always used to use CTS vintage pots. What have we done with them? Here we go. The G450s, I believe they are. G450s got nothing to do with the rating. They are 500k ohm or 500 ohm. And these are the vintage CTS. And these are quite expensive. They're about £9 each now. And I always used to use them, they're great, but the problem is, if you've got push-pull knobs or you're pushing them in from the top, they tend to burst these holding class here and burst through them. That's really not very good. Oh, whereas the Bourne's one, they hold tight, they hold steady. They're really well made, and the sweep on them is amazing. So this one, you've got two different, you're going to have two. Which one's going to be the, I believe this is going to be the tone. Let me think of which way this is going on. I believe they're I'm not tone, neck. I believe they're for the neck and they're for the bridge. I'm going to check how this was configured. Check back. Go watch some older videos when I started on this. Find out which of these go where, because one's going to be for volume, one's going to be for bridge, one's going to be for neck pickup. So we're going to get slight variations, but you've got different value capacitors. That's a 0.015 and that's a 0.022. Now the 0.15 normally goes on, is it the bridge? I'll have to go and check and find out. I still think that would look a lot better with 4 Bourne's pickup, 4 Bourne's parts. I'm going to end this part of the electrics right here because this is pretty much straightforward after this, after the 3-way, and this is all going to be a part I'm going to insert into the final part of the video. But I'm going to end the electrical part right here, right now, because then I can send this over to Dana and he can have a look at it and decide what he wants to do, whether he wants to change anything. So that's it. But this part of the video, this electrical part, will be integrated into the final video. So regarding the wiring, I've kind of hit the jackpot because I was looking at the old wiring, and this was from the input jack, which goes the input jack the earth from the 3-way switch, and this will go all the way through the guitar body to the 3-way switch. One being the earth, one being the hot. Well, the white wire is going to be the hot, black wire is going to be the earth, so I can wire that. Also, if you remember when I rewired the pickups, I gave one hot wire, I made one red, which was already red, and I made the other one blue, with not even remembering that there was a piece of wire already in there. One red, one blue, and these will come from the volume pots all the way up to the 3-way. So it's already this is already pre-configured. So now I've got this done. Well, I've got these from the old wiring anyway. I have the pickups rewired, and I have the loom, which is already in the guitar, which, if I show you, fits beautifully. I know it's upside down, but it fits beautifully. So we've made a good job there. The 2 Bourne's pots are going there at the top. I'm going to do all the rewiring after I've polished the frets, and whether I film it or not is another thing, but for all intents and purposes now I will consider this rewiring part of a video done. So next time you come back and check again, this bit would have all been pasted into part 4, and we can have a look at how I got on with the polishing and getting all these electrics back in.